Hello.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Gamar Tov. I am Ira Diamond, and our service will begin in just a few minutes. I would like to ask everyone to please take a moment and silence your cell phones or turn them off at this time. Thank you. Also, to let you know, we do have assistive listening devices in the back with Fran in the very back, and those can be checked out for each service. Also, in regard to parking, as in previous years, it's okay to park in a metered parking space that has expired. You do not need to put money in the meters. However, if you do receive a ticket accidentally, please turn it into Temple Akiba immediately at the office, and that's already happened this High Holidays. However, the police will issue tickets to anyone who is parked in a reserved or a restricted space. The entire senior center across the street is reserved, as are spaces behind vets. If, when you leave services tonight, you need to cross Overland Avenue or Culver Boulevard to reach your car, please, for your safety, only cross using the crosswalks at the signal. We really appreciate that. Lastly, I would like to announce that there is an Audi SUV with the license plate ending 900 that has the engine running. I again wish everybody a very Happy New Year, Gamar Tov, and Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. People often ask what the proper greeting is on Yom Kippur, and it's the question is twice as much when it's also Shabbat. But we greet each other first with our Shabbat greeting, which is Shabbat Shalom, of course. And we add to that the following phrase, repeat after me, Gamar Tov, which is the shortened form of Gamar Chatima Tova. We say this every Yom Kippur, and that means may you be sealed with goodness in the book of life. So once again, Shabbat Shalom and Gamar Chatima Tova. Friends, we gather tonight on this journey, continuing this journey. It didn't just begin last week on Rosh Hashanah. The journey began the day that we were born. And today, all of our lives cross. We all stand at the base of Mount Sinai, soul to soul and heart to heart. We continue this journey as a family. We open our service tonight with the singing of Eli, Eli. Our worship continues on page 71 with the lighting of our Shabbat and Yom Tov candles. What an honor it is to invite three Bauer women forward, Judy, Molly, and Lacey, to light our candles. Again, we're on page 71.
The Sabbath Queen enters our homes when the daughters of Israel bless the Shabbat candles. On this Shabbat of Shabbats, we remember the mothers of Israel whose devotion and love so often bless our families.
Priestesses of the Jewish home, they radiated concern, determination, and loyalty. As we begin this day of atonement, let us admit that none of us is perfect, neither we nor they. But we can always atone. The past is past. The future lies before us. Therefore, let us bless this coming year and the mothers of Israel who initiate this day of atonement.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu laha ligner, shel Shabbat v'shel Yom HaKippurim.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. As we continue this new year, we join with the heart and soul of the Shehechianu, this prayer of thanksgiving, thanking God for bringing us to this time. We gather tonight, 10 days into the new year. It is Yom Kippur. We have come to pray, to praise, to turn inward, and to reevaluate our lives and our deeds. We have come to hear the Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre is a paradox because life itself is a paradox. Kol Nidre, the most moving moment of the most sacred day. It's not a prayer at all. It is a legal formula, nullifying and canceling all our vows, not those between people, only those between a person and God. But this is the greatest paradox of all. Is Kol Nidre for the vows of the past year or for the vows for the year to come? For vows made that we betrayed or future vows to be made in vain? The answer lies in the human paradox. We need to vow, to swear commitment to future hopes, to higher ideals, knowing that our reach exceeds our grasp and that some of our vows will be made in vain. Nevertheless, we pray. Our marriage vows, may they endure. Our vows for good health, to exercise, to diet. The promises we made to study and to worship. Vows made by boys and girls standing on the bima, feeling what life as Jews might hold in store for them. May idealism and vision be with them all their days. We continue on page 75. Spirit, 800 years ago, Rabbi Meir of Rothenburg transformed his congregation into a legal body on Yom Kippur. So too do we come together on this night as a legal community, transforming our sanctuary into a court for the Jewish soul.
Beshiva shel mala, uvishiva shel mata, al dat hamakom, ve'al dat hakahal, hanu matin lehitpalel im ha'avayanim.
By the authority of the heavenly tribunal and the court below, with divine sanction and with the sanction of this holy community, we declare this congregation a lawful gathering which welcomes all transgressors into its midst. understanding. Friends, we're going to continue with the 3-time hearing of the Kol Nidre. We'll hear it through instrument, we'll hear it through cantillation, and we'll hear it in translation as well. We're going to begin with music, and I ask you to contemplate as you hear this ancient and beautiful sound. Contemplate what is in your souls and those connections that you would so much like to make with those around you. Thank you so much to Alan Mountainer on the cello and to Mary Lou Basaraba for praying on behalf of us. Friends, we're about to open the Ark, and in a moment, I'm going to ask for all who are able to please rise, but not just yet. As our cantor will chant the Kol Nidre, I'm going to invite the president of our sisterhood, Linda Park, and the president of our congregation, Michael Bauer, to join me on the high bima as we open the Ark. We now ask the congregation, all who are able, to please rise. Give us a minute.
Yicharatna, Yicharatna ve'hon. Yahon, Yahon Sharan. Beteilin umevutalin. Nidrana.
All vows we are likely to make, and all vows we made, vows we won't be able to keep, and vows we had to break. Release us, Adonai, from their burden. Our hearts at least try to be on track and in the right place. But at times our vision goes off course and we make mistakes. Adonai, pardon us, forgive us, allow us to start anew. when our cantor chants Kol Nidre, I feel like I'm climbing Jacob's ladder from earth to heaven. I think a lot of us feel that way. And it truly enables our hearts to open and to feel the sense of community in such a significant way. So I want to thank you and our choir and our musicians for this gift. Thank you. On the bottom, toward the bottom of page 81, praise me, says God, and I will know that you love me. Curse me, I will know that you love me. Praise me or curse me, I will know that you love me. But if you sit fenced off in your apathy, entrenched in, I couldn't care less, says God.
If you look at the stars and yawn, if you see suffering, don't cry out. If you don't praise and don't revive, then I created you in vain, says God.
As we prepare for our call to worship, we want to invite members of our junior choir to make your way forward toward the bima. And our call to worship the Baruch Hu is on page 82. Please be seated, everyone. God is in the faith by which we overcome the fear of loneliness, of helplessness, of failure, and of death.
God is in hope, which like a shadow
Leaves the dark abyss of depression, suffering, and despair. God is the love which creates, protects, forgives. God is the spirit which broods upon the chaos we have wrought, disturbing its static wrongs and stirring into life the formless beginnings of the new and better world. Our junior choir is going to join us on the bima. They're going to begin with a meditation before the Shema. Be seated during the meditation, but as we prepare to share the words of Shema, we will indicate for the congregation to rise.
Listen to our
Please be seated, everyone. That was beautiful. Linda Winters and Carol Seepman are coming forward to share a beautiful rendition of the V'ahavta by Bob Rona.
And you shall love the Lord your God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being. And set these words which I command you on this day upon your heart, upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way. When you lie down, when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorpost of your house and upon your gates, upon your gates. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way. When you lie down, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
The next prayer in the service is the Micha Mocha. This is a prayer that the children of Israel sang in the Torah as they crossed the Sea of Reeds. Our rabbis have different points of view. There are some that say that the sea didn't part until one person jumped in. And another perspective is that the sea opened before they could go in. And so it's two different points of view. And I think it's beautiful that we have those different opinions. I think about it like any community. Sometimes when a person enters a community, he or she has to take a leap of faith, has to jump in order for the community to embrace him or her. And sometimes the community has to part first and open its arms and welcome in those who are standing on the shores. At Temple Akiba, we hope that we can be that community that opens our arms to bring you in if you're a little bit apprehensive. But know that all of you who are here, as well as those who are listening from our YouTube channel, is it? Yeah, okay. Our YouTube channel and far away, please know that our hearts, like the Sea of Reeds, is open, inviting you to come in, to being part of this incredible community. The Micha Mocha is on page 85.
Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar BaKodesh, Nora Tehilot Osei Fele, Nora Tehilot Osei Fele.
Following the Micha Mocha is the Hashkivenu, a song that reminds us that when we go into dark times of our lives, there is light tomorrow. I am confused. Is it our times, our world, our society? Or is it, dear God, only me? Have I given my family enough of myself? Or have I too often asked them to be the ones to wait?
I've tried to be concerned, compassionate, understanding, loving. In my heart, I know there could be more of me to give.
Perhaps this is good, for I find myself now reaching farther to touch the needs of others. Should I reproach myself knowing I have given so much to those I love? O Mentor of Israel, bless my family. Keep them wise and strong. When I have failed them, let me know the purpose of that failure. My hopes and dreams are in front of me. My family is around me. Be with us as you were with our ancestors. We continue now with the Amidah. It begins on page 86. We invite all who are able to rise once again.
Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Adonai Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha, Ufi Agid Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Dorotenu Elohei Avraham v'Elohei Sarah Ha'el Ha'gadol Ha'gibor v'Ha'anah וזוכר חסדי דורות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וחוצינו לספר החיים, למולך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע. מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אב הרחמים, זוכה יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. Amen.
Please be seated, everyone. B'Rosh Hashanah yichatevun, u'v'Yom Kippur yichatemun. On Yom Kippur, the book of remembrance is sealed. It speaks for itself. Each of us is an author, writing with deeds in life's great book. No song is so trivial, no story is so commonplace. No kindness is ever done in vain. Each mitzvah leaves its imprint. So help us to remember always that what we do will live forever. May our lives reflect this awareness. May our deeds bring no shame or reproach. We take a moment now for our own silent reflection. there are certain prayers that traditionally we're not supposed to do on Shabbat. We're not supposed to ask for certain things. And it's one of the reasons why a little bit later on in the service, we will not be doing the Avinu Malkeinu. Traditionally, the Avinu Malkeinu is not shared on Shabbat, but it will be shared at the very end of the Yom Kippur service tomorrow afternoon. But there is one exception. On Shabbat, we are allowed to ask for healing. We always should be able to ask for healing. And so we offer the Misha Berach, the blessing of healing. As we share this, there will be a moment when I look around the congregation. Perhaps there are names of people that you know who could use that healing on this Shabbat of Shabbats, on this Yom Kippur. Page 89. Every person should express 100 blessings a day. Have I neglected to tell you I appreciate your sacrifices of your time, of your needs for my needs, of your freedom for my demands? Have I neglected to tell you you have been my anchor, my sounding board, my scapegoat? You have loved me even though sometimes I disappointed you, even though sometimes I resented you, even though I sometimes frustrated you. From your example, I have learned to live, to care, to believe, to commit, to grow. When I neglected to tell you, I want to tell you today, let us be at one on this day of at-one-ment.
Eloheinu, Eloheinu, tavo lefanecha tefilatenu ve'al titalam et techinatenu she'en anachnu azefanim ukshei oref lomar lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avotenu tzadikim anachnu velo chatanu aval anachnu chatanu.
We invite all who are able to rise once again, and we're about to hear and participate in the recitation of the Ashamnu, which will be on our screen. This is the prayer where it has become custom to lightly afflict ourselves by pounding our hearts a little bit. If you have a talis on, there's a tradition of wrapping the tzitzis in your finger as we do this, and we repeat the words after the cantor. On page 90. On this day of atonement, we prepare to see ourselves not in the mirror of vanity, nor in the opinion of our neighbors, but from the perspective of God, whose ear hears us, whose eye sees us, and in whose book our lives are written. We are not at one with ourselves or with our neighbors or with God. Our problems, our pride and impatience separate us from the atonement we seek. Yet without it, we are maimed in mind and spirit. The burden of old quarrels, whose cause we scarcely remember, weighs upon us. So too do the broken friendships and promises, the appeals we denied, the requests we refused, and all the opportunities for good we rejected. In silence we remember our sins, our failings, and mistakes. For all these sins, forgiving God, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. We take one more moment for silent introspection. On page 91. We confess our moral failures for the sin we have committed by elevating love for dollar over love for family. For the sin we have committed by For the sin we have committed by not continuing to educate ourselves in Torah. For the sin we have committed by expecting greater temple participation in our children. For the sin we have committed by confining Jewish life to the synagogue. For the sins of smirking at others, whether Jews who worship differently or Christians who believe differently. For the sin of callousness in the face of human suffering and hunger. For the sin of filling the heavens with smog and coating the beaches with slime. Va'al kulam, for all these sins, whether committed inadvertently or with intent, may we seek forgiveness and may we be forgiven. We confess our moral failures for the sin which we have committed by spurning parents and teachers. For the sin which we have committed by wronging our neighbors. For the sin we have committed by envy. For the sin we have committed by hardening our hearts. For the sin which we have committed by denying and lying. for the sin which we have committed by bribery, for the sin which we have committed by slander and talebearing, Va'al kulam, for all these sins, whether committed inadvertently or with intent, may we seek forgiveness and may we be forgiven. It's an honor to call to the Bema Cantor J. Freilich, Cantor Emeritus of University Synagogue, and mentor and father to so many of us. Father to one of us, mentor to many of us.
Hey
In the mid-1990s, I served a small congregation as student rabbi in Great Falls, Montana. They called themselves the Frozen Chosen up there. On the flight over from Cincinnati, I struck up a conversation with the guy sitting next to me. Now, I'm always a little bit guarded when people ask what I do when I'm on a plane. And in full disclosure, I often want to respond by saying, I work in a gefilte fish factory. But when I told him that I was a student rabbi, he seized the opportunity to say, I have a quick question. I braced myself. As quick questions don't always mean simple responses. And so he dove into the ultimate question. If there is a God, why do bad things happen to good people? I thought for a moment and then responded, why not? Now, it wasn't a satisfactory answer on my part, nor did it acknowledge in any real way that this person was reaching out for guidance. That's not where our conversation ended. I asked him what prompted his question, and he shared with me some of the very difficult and traumatic events that had plagued him over the last 12 months. I listened and I realized that he suffered in 1 year more than what anyone should endure in 100 lifetimes. I acknowledged that what was happening was, simply put, not fair. The plane landed and we parted ways. To this day, more than 20 years later, I wish I could have said something more brilliant or insightful. I often try to justify that I was just a green student rabbi without the full training in these life questions. But in truth, these difficult, timeless dilemmas don't have simple answers. There's a deep-seated theology that challenges our reality. It's the theology that if we pray hard enough, good things will happen. We find it throughout our Yom Kippur liturgy and in many parts of the Bible as well. I believe it to be a flawed theology and an imperfect theology, one that leads many people to ask, why does religion matter for us today if this theology doesn't speak to our truth? I look into our congregation. I see individuals whose spouses or parents died unexpectedly. I see parents who have had to bury their own children. I see parents who struggle with their children, and individuals who struggle to have children. There are family members whose loved ones are suffering cancer, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. Others are living with depression. There is mental illness, there is loneliness. And though many who suffer intellectually grasp that these afflictions are not as a result of their actions, still we emotionally ask, why me? Did I not live my life the right way? It must be so hard to endure this liturgy of who shall live and who shall die. Friends, so many of us are searching for meaning, but often we're not finding the answers today in yesterday's paradigms. The theology doesn't always resonate. And if our responses to difficult life issues continue to perpetuate a flawed theology, then we will lose the future generations. We'll lose our own generation. Communities will be formed elsewhere. People are finding fewer compelling reasons to be part of our tradition and our religion. When people are on the fence about becoming part of our community, considering whether to join the synagogue or not, sometimes it has to do with a financial impact, but usually at its heart, there's something much more than that. It might sound like this: Rabbi, I'm an atheist, so being part of a religious institution doesn't make sense to me. Or, Rabbi, I find my spirituality when hiking. I don't find it during ritual prayer. Why should I be part of a temple? NPR ran a story recently that asked young adults about their feelings with regard to organized religion. Here are what some of the respondents had to say. Yusuf Ahmad, who's 33, raised Muslim, is now an atheist. His doubts set in as a child with sacred stories from the Quran that he didn't believe. And he cites the example of the story of Abraham. Now, mind you, the Quran has a parallel story to our story of Abraham with the Akedah, with the binding of Isaac. Their story is a little bit different. So he shares, according to the Quran, God tells Abraham to sacrifice his son. He then takes his son to sacrifice him and turns him into a goat. I remember growing up thinking in like 5th or 6th grade that's crazy. Why would this guy do this? Just because he heard a voice in his head, he went to sacrifice his son and turned it into a goat? There's no way this happened. I wasn't buying it. Rigoberto Perez, who was 30, he was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist. He said, when I was younger, my father drank a lot. There was abuse in the home. My brother committed suicide in 2001. So at some point you start to say, why does all this stuff happen to people? And if I pray and nothing good happens, is that supposed to mean that I'm being tried? Eventually that gets too hard to believe in anything anymore. Now again, the first story happened to a Muslim, the second to a Seventh-day Adventist. They could very well have happened to people who grew up Jewish. The third respondent, another one, had a different takeaway. And this is one that I hope can resonate a little bit. Liz Reeves was raised Christian. She lost a brother to cancer. I wanted so badly to believe in God and in heaven. And that's where he was going when he died to cancer. I wanted to have some sort of purpose and meaning associated with his passing. And ultimately, the more time I spent thinking about it, I realized the purpose and meaning of his life had nothing to do with heaven, but it had to do with how I could make choices in my life that give his life meaning. And that had a lot more weight with me than any kind of faith in anything else. You see, religion doesn't need to be vertical between God up here and humans down here. It's not a tower. Religion can be joining hands, one human to another, crossing the desert toward the promise of tomorrow. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially when we're in pain. But creating true meaning unfolds every time we accompany another soul on his or her journey. I'm reminded of a favorite passage from the book of Kings, and I want to acknowledge Rabbi Harold Kushner for accentuating this in his book, The 9 Things I've Learned About Life. Here's the biblical setting. Elijah the prophet, the same Elijah we sing about during Passover Seder, Eliyahu Hanavi, that one. Elijah the prophet, is in despair because of corruption under King Ahab in Israel. So Elijah runs away to reconnect with God. It's the biblical version of going to a retreat at Big Sur. The passage teaches And he said, "Go out and stand upon the mount before God, before Adonai." And behold, Adonai passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks before Adonai. But Adonai was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But Adonai was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But Adonai was not in the fire. But after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so. When Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came that voice to him, and that voice said, "Elijah, what are you doing here?" That voice then tells Elijah that he needs to go back to the people and help them through a difficult period. Friends, in this past month, we've witnessed everything that Elijah witnessed on that cliff. We've experienced devastating winds, hurricanes in Texas and Florida and in Puerto Rico. There have been horrific earthquakes in Mexico. Fires have erupted not far from us. Now, some people might call these acts of God, but if those are acts of God, it's not the God that I pray to. Instead, learning from our passage, God is not the wind. God is not the earthquake. God is not the fire. God is the still small voice encouraging us to encourage what Elijah did, to go out and to rebuild the lives of those affected. You see, it's not enough to just listen to the voice and feel calm and spiritual. No, it's about allowing that voice to motivate us toward tikkun olam, rebuilding the world through our intervention. This is why religion matters. Before I came to Temple Akiba, I was the High Holy Day rabbi for 3 weeks in Johannesburg, South Africa. I served the community of Hillbrow, which was once the center of Jewish culture in Joburg. But times change, and the neighborhood went downhill. It's now drug-infested with a very high crime rate. But many in the Jewish community stayed put, and the congregation still serves a small number of mostly elderly and lower-income Jewish families. Now, the chair of the congregation is a woman named Reva Foreman, a wonderful, deep-hearted, and eccentric woman. This is a coded way of saying she's a little meshugana. But she will be the first to admit it. Every Shabbat, we offered prayers from the same Reform Siddur most Reform American congregations used at the time. The prayers included supplications to God to feed the hungry and protect the poor. We sang familiar songs, some with guitar and some with choir. At the conclusion of the service, most people would go home for a Shabbos meal, but not Reva. She would go out to her car and open the trunk to reveal bread and cheese and eggs. When she did, the homeless would line up around the block. One by one, Reva would hand out food. I asked her, "Aren't you afraid?" She responded, "If anyone dares lay a hand on me, each of these souls would jump to my defense." For Reva, religion was not about saying the prayers. That was theology. Religion was not about feeling the music. That was spirituality. For Reva, religion was about going out and making a difference in other people's lives. Rabbi David Wolpe of Temple Sinai here in Los Angeles puts it best. He said, theology is what we believe. Spirituality is what we feel. Religion is what we do. I want to say that one more time. Theology is what we believe. Spirituality is what we feel. Religion is what we do. Whenever I meet with a family in preparation for an upcoming bar bat mitzvah, I bring them into the sanctuary and place the Torah into the arms of each parent. I asked them to share the most important treasure of Judaism they want to hand down to their child. I asked this of both Jewish and non-Jewish parents. The breadth of their responses is powerful and inspiring. These are the treasures that they share, that they want to give to their children. Family, learning, asking questions, social justice, survival of the people, love of Israel, commitment to the Jewish community, tikkun olam, reparation of the world. In my 20 years in the rabbinate, I have never witnessed a parent say at that moment, I want my child to be able to recite the Kiddush perfectly. Or a parent has never said, I hope my child understands the importance of keeping kosher on the 6th day of Passover. Now, while these may be hopes, they are not the core values. Many years ago, Fern Salka, who was the president of University Synagogue, asked me, what's the difference between being a progressive Jew and being a good person? If the values are the same, why be Jewish? You don't have to be Jewish to do tikkun olam. It's a powerful question. Ironically, I want to allow British author Alain de Botton to respond. He gave a TED Talk entitled Atheism 2.0. The talk explains what religion can offer for atheists that can't be found by taking note of spring flowers or engaging in community service. And here are 4 issues that he shares, 4 things that he believes that atheists are missing when they're not part of community. First, synchronized time. Namely, the opportunity to bond at a specific rather than random time with a large community when we're all connected with a similar theme, like these holy days. Second, repetition, or tradition, we might call it. Religion tells us the same story in prayers over and over and over. The story doesn't change, but we change. So it speaks to us differently every time. In a world when we all want the next big thing, the iPhone 10, we also have a need for timelessness, like hearing the cantor sing the Kol Nidre, something that grounds us to some power beyond ourselves. So the first is synchronized time. The second is repetition. The third is guidance. Even the most independent among us needs a system that can hold our hands through life challenges. Often those who are most secular want to know the specific rules with regard to the laws of mourning. They want to do it right. We all need that grounding and that guidance. And finally, the fourth theme that he shares is our need for sacred space and institutions. We need a place to be together. It's no wonder that in the face of national tragedies on a universal level, or Jewish targeting that hits close to home, our synagogues, our places of prayer, give us a place to be together. I'm told that after 9/11, Rabbi and Judy Maller held a beautiful service at Temple Akiba, and there was just no more room for people to enter. We had to open every single door. People have a need to be together, and our Jewish institutions are going to be here. You see, Judaism is our treasure trove of time, tradition, guidance, and sacred space. When the world out there is in turmoil, we are here, and we gather here. And then we learn how to best go out and face that turmoil. This is why religion matters. Our Torah teaches that when the children of Israel stood at the foot of Sinai, ready to accept the covenant, they said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will believe. It's no mistake that their unifying voice was in that order. For they were saying that the most important thing about being Jewish is in the doing. We will do. This comes before all else. And so, my friends, we go out and do Judaism. We send letters to those who are sick. We celebrate with wedding couples. We play softball. We go on retreats. We send our kids to summer camps. We laugh on Purim. We study on Shavuot. We struggle. Carol, we struggle. We celebrate. And yes, we pray as well. One final story shared by my colleague, Rabbi Edwin Goldberg. Levi Yitzchak, ancestor of Ron Galperin, found himself before the Creator. And Levi said, God, you expect too much of your people. We suffer and do our best. Please, please have compassion on us. God said, you know what, Levi? You have a point. I will be merciful. Levi Yitzchak realized that he had caught God in a great mood and decided to press his case. God, why not save the world now? Bring Mashiach, bring the Messiah. Now, God seemed open to the idea. Levi Yitzchak knew he could save the world today if he just had a few moments to convince God. But out of the corner of his eye, Levi Yitzchak saw that back on earth, at the shul, Samuel the grocer had fainted. He needed to eat. Samuel was not a particularly nice man, and he was stubborn. He would only eat when Levi Yitzchak concluded the service. But to do that, Levi Yitzchak's soul would have to return from heaven. He would not be able to convince God to save the world. But if Levi Yitzchak waited, he knew that Samuel the grocer would die. Levi Yitzchak turned around and went back to earth. Instead of saving the world, he returned to save one human. This is why religion matters. Friends, as we are on this journey of renewal, of togetherness, and of spirit and hope, let us allow that still small voice guide us toward embracing one human soul at a time. We all have a Shmuel, the grocer, in our lives who needs our help today. What are we waiting for? King Yehi Ratzon, may that be God's will. Amen. It is now my honor to invite forward, representing our board, Elizabeth Zlotowicz, who is, no, let me take that back. It is now my honor to invite from our board president, Michael Bauer, who I think will introduce Elizabeth. Michael, Shabbat Shalom and Gamar Tov. Thanks.
Shabbat Shalom and Gamar Tov, everybody. We are so happy you're all here to share this beautiful and moving service. Nobody told me how difficult it was going to be president, because nobody told me I would have to stand up there holding that Torah. It's a very heavy Torah. And on top of that, Linda Park was sure to get the one on the left, because the little one with the red cover on the right is the heaviest one. Who knew? In our continuing series of presenting a member of our executive board to present to you the announcements and their insight as to why they are on the board, their goals and achievements, and what they want to achieve. Tonight I want to present to you our Vice President of Membership, the very welcoming and effervescent Elizabeth Zlotowicz.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for that enthusiastic introduction. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and Gamar Tov. My name is Elizabeth Zlotowicz, and I am your Vice President Membership. But I've been asked to make some quick announcements before I get into more about my favorite topic. So administratively, here you go, what you need to know. Tomorrow morning's service begins promptly at 10 a.m., so please bring in your bags of non-perishable food for Sova, as well as used but still wearable shoes to donate to shoes for the homeless. Trader Joe's has donated some bags which are in the lobby, which you can pick up on your way out and use to fill with your donation items. And when you arrive in the morning, place the bags in the lobby on the right-hand side of the building. If you get confused, ask an usher and they can direct you. Continuing tomorrow, our afternoon Yitzhak service will begin promptly at 3:30. And during the break between the morning and afternoon service, you don't have to go anywhere. If you want to make it a one-stop shop tomorrow, you can join Helene Jaffa in the Rotunda room. She's going to be leading a discussion on some poems that would embrace the spirit of Yom Kippur. And if you'd like, you can join her in the Rotunda room at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. So that's the administrative stuff. Now on to my favorite topic, which is you, our wonderful members of Temple Akiba. You know, on Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi Shapiro spoke to us about the phrase, Hineni, here I am. And so here we are, sitting together as a congregation, united at this hour because we're Jews. And who are we? We are single, we are married, we are parents, we don't have children, we are liberal Republicans, we are conservative Democrats, we are Californians, a few of us are transplanted from a faraway land called Kentucky. We are Jews by birth, we are Jews by choice, we are Jews of color, we are LGBTQ. And some of us are connected to Judaism by way of close family or dear friends. And here we are. We're seated together as a congregation with so much diversity, and yet we have one thing in common upon which we can all agree. We are Jews. We make up this esteemed and diverse community called Temple Akiba of Culver City, and each of us is enriched by sharing, supporting, communing, and engaging with one another. That is a very powerful force, and I feel it every time I am with you. When I became VP membership, my first act in that position was to make an appointment with the rabbi and say, oh, what do I do? And he told me that being VP of membership is one thing. You are the head cheerleader. And that's easy for me because I actually was a cheerleader in high school. So it was typecasting. And there is so much to cheer about. First of all, we are led by extraordinary clergy in Rabbi Zach Shapiro and Cantor Lonnie Freilich. And how lucky are we? We have a beautiful remodel or renovation of our home on Sepulveda Boulevard. If you haven't seen it, come see it. And it's just the beginning of more to come. And we have an exciting and enriched membership that in the past year alone has grown by 100 families. That's you. And I get so excited. So and so that's what I want to focus on now, because there's nothing that represents us more than the lifeblood, I think, of Temple Akiva, and those are the newest among us. And so at the risk of embarrassing you, and it might, but please give us an opportunity to welcome you. For those of you who have joined Temple Akiva in the past year, won't you please stand and give us an opportunity to welcome you? All those who are new among us, please, please, please. Let us recognize you. Remain standing for a moment, remain standing. For those of you who are seated, please take a look around and take it upon yourself today or tomorrow to get to know these folks. You will be enriched. Thank you all. And as I close, I just want you all to know that you have now officially been deputized as members of the membership committee. You are ambassadors of Shalom. And I invite you, throughout this next year, make it a goal for yourself. When you come into the halls of Temple Akiva, yes, meet and greet the people that you love and you know and you've known and shared experiences with, and all of that is wonderful and good, but take it upon yourself to go up to someone you've never met, look them in the eye, say, how are you? My name is Elizabeth. Nice to meet you. You'll be amazed. If you're anything like me, you will discover that your life will become more interesting as a result. So thank you for this great opportunity. Shabbat Shalom once again, everyone. May you have a meaningful fast tomorrow. Gamar Tov.
Thank you so much, Michael and Elizabeth, and to our community. Friends, our concluding prayers begin with the Aleinu. We're on page 95. We ask the congregation once again to please rise. not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am a dazzling glint on snow. I am the hope when people pray. I am the Chazan's kol nidre. I am a tradition at the family Seder. I am a youngster going to Cheder. And when you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of joy, l'chaim to life. So do not stand at my grave and cry, I am not there, I did not die. Please be seated, everyone. As tonight is both Yom Kippur and Shabbat, we offer the names of Kaddish for those who have died and that we remember at this time. I'm going to remember first those for whom we are in Shloshim, the first 30 days since that loved one has died, including Tricia Brennan, Marty Clemis, Richard Lobenthal, and Ruben Vodovos. Is there anyone else in our community tonight who is remembering someone who has died in the past 30 days?
My aunt, Diane Haynes.
We add to their names the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths that occur on this Shabbat. I'm going to begin with the names of those who have plaques in our Sue and Jerry Erfrig Memorial Room. Simon Frankel, Harry Harris, Oscar Levin, Frank Milberger, Heinz Pulverman, Abraham Raymar, Aaron Rosenblatt, and David Tepper. We also remember Jacob Ayers, Trudy Bender, Ben Bernstein, Leonard Bromberg, Morris Brown, Regina Eisner, Joshua Glickstein, Mildred Grundy, Tim Harris, Sarah Jass, Julius Carpin, Leo Kassan, Abraham Knopf, Bert Landau, Irene London, Ruth Newman, Ellen Norton, Clara Pizer, Elaine Rockman, Goldie Rubin, Jacob Rubin, Molly Schulman, Max Shapiro, Mortimer Stern, David Sternfeld, Chana Trank, Michael Trank, Morris Trank, and Harry Zwick. Are there additional yard sites that those in our community are observing on this Shabbat? May their memories guide all of us toward goodness. We rise once again as a congregation for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish, on page 97. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad v'yibrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'galau v'yizman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei t'kudashah b'richu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran b'yoma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who causes peace to be known in the high heavens help us understand that by reaching out to one another, we can have peace on earth as well. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say,
Amen.
Amen.
Our closing song is Be'ado. You can find it. Is it going to be on the screens?
I don't believe we
It's
have a
not on
screen
the
for it,
screens.
so.
If you look on page 98, on the top at Adon Olam, the last two lines of Adon Olam will have the Hebrew words to our prayer. And if you know this, feel free to put your book down and grab someone next to you. And if you don't know it, hold your book in one hand and hold the person in the other hand.
May it be a year of bridging one soul to another, and to all who fast, may it be a meaningful fast. Shabbat Shalom, Gamar Chatima Tova. May you be written with goodness in the book of life.